All right, Netrunners, welcome back to Stampede City Grid. I'm Justin.
And I'm Keith.
And we're here to bring you the second match of the second round here at the last Winter Kit tournament we had at the Century Box in Calgary, Alberta.
This is February 6th, 2016, and the last single pack was Caligota, which we've said already.
Right, so Keith is here on the left, playing
me.
Leela.
I'm just coming back from a very unfortunate loss with my harpsichord deck. It hurts so much losing that. I had to win the next turn, but of course, Netrunners be Netrunning. Mm-hmm. That's what happens.
Always be running.
Always be running.
As we saw with Chris on the right and his Quetzal build, which Splash always be running. Very funky build there, but he played it real cool and avoiding getting his permanent block.
Turntable, MVP, and I've had worse. Both of those saved him multiple times.
They win games.
Yep, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
All right, so this time I am going to be running Leela Patel, the criminal runner, one of my favorite runners. Leela always has a great ability. Whenever a agenda is scored or stolen, the corporation must return one. You can bounce one card back to the corp's hand.
Right, and Chris on the right is playing Gagarin Deep Space, which is an additional cost to access a remote server. The runner has to pay 1 cred.
Yep.
So we tend with Gagarin to be more horizontal builds.
Yep.
With compared to other Wayland builds. Obviously, with all the assets that have come out in this cycle so far, Gagarin's definitely got a big boost in the arm.
Oh, huge.
You know, I think it was definitely considered a kind of a lackluster ID for a while, and now between Museum of History and Moonbat Construction Corp, Corporate Towns. I mean, just all now the political assets in the most recent pack. It's really coming to its own, along with other horizontal builds. With IG and NEH making horizontal NEH anime making a resurgence. NEH never really went away, obviously.
It never goes away. It just rotates around the Earth, staying ever so close.
Yeah. So now Caligota was the most recent pack, so the only thing he could be really packing in here would be Museum of History and possibly Moomba Temple, which is another great addition. For any horizontal deck, or just any deck that wants to just play 15 ice or less.
Yeah, absolutely. Moomba Temple is 2 recurring credits that let you res cards, any card really, that has a res cost, and the condition is that you have to have 15 or fewer ice.
If you don't want to play the influence.
Yes.
Yeah. Which that's not a very hard requirement. I like the design space with that, with a lot of
these neutral assets that have extra restrictions or influence cost against them. So we're about to get things underway here. So Chris takes his opening hand and this is mandatory draw.
And we're underway. So he took a mulligan. So we'll see what he's packing here.
He draws up an additional card and then ices up HQ against criminals, which is always a good idea.
Always a solid play there.
Yeah. And
so, can we spoil what Leela does? The great thing about Leela is, like Andy before her, because obviously, I would say Leela has definitely become ascendant. Is kind of the most predominant criminal you see nowadays.
Absolutely, I am running the kind of Leela that you always hate to see. The Leela that runs the data leak reversal and gang signs. Definitely one that puts a lot of pressure on the corp. And forces them to make decisions that they don't want to make.
Yeah. So what you're trying to say is you're basically soulless.
Yes, the soulless build of Leela Patel. Yeah. And if you stare deeply into her eyes, you see nothing but a criminal, a smooth criminal, who has no desire to help out any sort of corporations or further any agenda other than her own.
Friends don't let friends become trained pragmatists. That's what he said.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so Chris, he was drawing up some more and pitching some cards there. It looks like he's probably digging for econ and ice, I'm guessing.
He's playing it very slow, very safe. Meanwhile, I've decided to do an investment seminar.
I don't know if he has much choice having mulliganed. He could have mulliganed to some agendas. I mean, that he could have just put some agendas right there, and that could be a Jackson. Which, interestingly, I mean, the thing is nowadays, against criminals, you definitely...
Oh, look at that. First run and access Project Atlas.
Oh, this could be bad. And this is the power of Leela right here, is the steamrolling.
Return the card back to their hand.
Where you think you're protected, and boom, there you go,
there
just like that. And
accounts for being siphoned.
All those pretty creds going down the drain.
It's not down the drain, into my hands, actually.
Well, being a lowlife and all.
Yeah.
We assume that's the direction to win in. So this is a pretty good early game for you as Leela. This is exactly what you want.
Yep.
So you're keeping the tags because you're playing Paparazzi, I believe?
Yep, that's a Paparazzi.
Now, interestingly,
keeps the meat safe from meat damage.
Yeah, the thing is... Okay, so that's a Museum of History. That is resident at the end of your turn. But the thing is, not having the wireless net pavilion out to make that harder to trash is that he could still trash that.
Right, but he wouldn't have enough credits to do the Scorched Earth that turn as well.
No. Yeah, I suppose if you're worried about Scorch. Now, usually Gargarin... I'm not. There are, obviously, with Wayland, you have to always respect the possibility of Scorch. But I find with Gargarin, you encounter it the least compared to most Wayland builds.
So that was just there as a click defense in case he was trying to set up some sort of Scorch combo.
Right. So spends first 2 clicks, icing up the centrals. It's a tough spot for sure because I'm going to
he has
take
3 credits.
There's a very good chance he can't res both of those ice. So it's always risky. So he does decide to trash Paparazzi, which is interesting because you already kept the tags from Account Siphon. So although I guess with Paparazzi you would be tagged regardless.
Correct.
But when you're on such low creds, I kind of question that play actually because you want to be able to res your ice against Leela. Keeping unresed anything against Leela is not ideal. And so, especially early on, when you need econ, you need to get set up. You do not want her to oppress you by just steamrolling those accesses into agendas, into bounces, into more pain and suffering.
Never. No. And that's going to be a rough time for him. Takes a few credits off of my daily casts.
Yeah.
I'm planning an attack right now.
Yeah. Now, obviously, with the DLR, there's a bit of setup in that kind of build.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's what you're digging for is to get DLR pieces, maybe some breakers even.
Yeah.
But now, if I were you, I would actually have wanted to go run and trash that Museum of History. Because there's very little else going on right now.
Right.
And it's pretty much the only thing he's got going for him. So he put in a hedge fund back, he put agendas back, it's given him a little bit of breathing room. And I think that on such low credits, you almost want to press the advantage.
Yeah, and that was the thing where I was torn between setting up an attack. I was trying to organize something for a later on attack so that I can get all the cards ready, install the data leak reversal, and just start milling right away.
Right.
So
he plays the Jackson, reses it, picks up 2 cards, and installs another card for his 3rd click. Oh wait, how did he gain that credit? Because didn't he install the Jackson this turn?
Yeah, I think it was...
Because then he installed Drew, and then installed another. He may have accidentally taken 4 clicks here.
I don't know if he drew. I think he just resed it. I think the extra cards were from the Fisk Investment Seminar.
No, but he drew after on his turn.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
yes.
So
sorry,
that might have been a slight misplay, but we'll see how much it ends up really mattering. But getting back to your point with this type of build, Leela is. I find though what's nice about this build is that it being a bit of a hybrid, where it's not pure aggression like a typical Leela.
Yeah.
Like a turntable Leela, and a pure DLR build, kind of a la Worlds Anarchs type style, is that you can be aggressive early, and then once the corp does kind of set up and things transition to the mid game, then you can start setting up.
Yeah, and maybe it wasn't the best option, but in this case, I felt like I had time to set up and get some other pieces ready.
Okay,
such as data leak reversal.
Yeah, so you ran the essential, played the data leak, played the wireless. Now you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
So I may crow a bit here, but in fairness, if you had not done that this early, you probably would have done it sooner than later.
Yeah.
So In any case, it's true that there's definitely not a lot of pressure going on. He has not tried to set up a scoring remote at all. We're going to assume he's not fast advancing.
Right now, yeah, there isn't much credits or pieces in place in order to get agendas scored. He's basically trying to set up a bunch of remote servers to get money going.
Yeah, and obviously this is the power of all these new horizontal decks, and with Gagarin in particular, the ability to just get such an econ engine rolling with all the assets, because obviously you're not going to trash them. Like after a certain point, it just costs too much money and too many clicks to go after it all.
Exactly.
What's interesting is, because if you didn't have DLR out, it would still be possibly a good line of play to go after those assets, because he still doesn't have a lot of money. So denying him the econ, denying him the recursion, while you still have a bit of a money advantage, because you still have the 2 daily cast, for example, it might be a decent line of play. However, now that you have DLR out, it is kind of one of those things where, when do you want to start hitting the gas pedal on that?
Exactly. And I'm thinking about it, and I trashed the Museum of History, because I feel like that is going to slow down my the leaks that I'm trying, WikiLeaks.
Yeah, no, and that's definitely number one target. Even if DLR wasn't out, the thing is you don't want to trash anything else when Museum of History is out, because then they just shuffle it back.
And there goes the pad campaign now, too.
Yeah, so
turning off all of his servers that he put up.
Yeah, and I definitely like this line of play. I definitely think it's the right call here. And yeah, no point in going over at that unresed asset. Or, well, unrest card. It could be an agenda.
The next 2 clicks, just milled 2 cards.
Nice. Okay. But of course, if he's going to install a negative agenda and score it, then yeah. Okay, capital investors. So, some more money. Basically, court version of Magnum Opus, where you res it and you spend a click to gain 2 credits. And it costs, I believe, 2 to trash?
2 credits to res, 2 credits to trash.
Well, there you go. Nice and simple.
But he's keeping those investors safe.
Wayland doing Wayland.
Building a tax haven.
Okay, now he's got enough to res, and he did protect capital investors, because obviously his econ's been pretty low. Thankfully for you, he's not been able to get off his feet much since you siphoned him. But this might swing back the other way.
And I put down a DDoS.
Ooh.
And DDoS is the runner. The corporation cannot read the outermost piece of ice. And unfortunately, that's all his ice right now. So
just brutal.
Account siphon.
It's so good.
All of those new credits that he was holding on to.
Yeah.
And then running and accessing and taking out his new investors.
Just hostile takeover right there.
Nothing is safe. Nothing is ever safe against criminals.
You bought him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's just brutal. Yeah, and DDoS has been such a great addition for aggro criminal decks.
It's something where they don't want to go through multiple pieces of ice because they don't have the best breakers or the best way to influence and get in the best breakers.
Yeah.
So why not find other ways to leverage that kind of pressure?
Yeah.
And something like DDoS can come as a complete surprise, which again is catching them completely off guard.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting from a design space because DDoS almost feels more like a criminal card. And even though you do see an Anarch sometimes, and even in Shaper once in a blue moon, you primarily, I do see an aggro criminal decks.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that it was not only printed as an Anarch card, but with 3 influence.
But can you imagine if it was a blue card? Can you imagine the trouble that corporations would have holding on to criminals?
It would make account siphon plays and whatnot just off the charts.
They had to. Yeah. That's the only way.
Yeah. Okay, so drawing up. Daily cast have ticked off here. So if you're Chris, you just need money, because nothing else matters at this point. If you can't res the dice, you're just going to keep getting cheap
all
access.
The cards are just slowly flowing into the garbage chute.
Yeah, and at the very least, you need to get it to 4 credits so you can trash that DLR.
Yeah. Oh no, that was unfortunate misplay. Putting out more ice is not going to help him right now. He needs the money.
Yeah, I definitely agree that that more ice is not going to do anything at this point when he can't res it. He just now maybe though his hand, so he's discarding, and maybe that he just wanted to get it out of his hand because he didn't want to discard it.
Right.
But you have to imagine this point. And this is the thing with DLR is that it's tempting you to just mill, and it's a totally fine way to win. Obviously, It's very straightforward. But I mean, pretend DLR is not out there for a moment. He has almost no credits. He has not shown any willingness to score out anything. His hand's got to have some agendas. It's either that or he's recklessly pitched them into archives without Jackson out.
Right.
So we have a double install here in 2
I feel
results.
like he is trying to get Jackson. He drew for his first click just to try to find something. But
yeah, but you just need money. You need to get the DLR off the table.
You need to get that off. You need to respect the DLR, respect the leaks, and close those holes.
Yeah, because Jackson is just a plug. It's not going to save you from DLR.
No.
So if I were him, I would just be moneying up, trashing DLR, and here comes a Faust.
Yes.
Okay, it's the first breaker. I mean, no, I don't even. Did you even need? I mean, at this point, it's almost like, do you need to play it? Because he can. Well, I mean, it's 2 credits.
Yeah.
What can he res? Like it's such a tight spot for him. Is that you almost don't even need to play any breaker until you actually see something resed.
Yeah.
So. I mean, in fairness, that could have just been another mill. It could have been more econ. Like, you really, at this point, he's in such an oppressed spot where he just can't get anything going. That you really almost want to be checking archives. You want to be checking the hand. You just want to be pushing that advantage. Because the other thing is that you're not, by not running, and obviously by him not scoring, you're not utilizing Leela's ability at all.
Right.
And I think that's still, even with DLR out, that's still one of the most potent aspects of this, is that you can just if you're running and stealing agendas, not only are you getting that much closer to winning, but you're bouncing the ice back so that if he does want to have any chance, basically what I'm trying to say is that you're forcing him to it's like almost click compression for the corp, because now he has all these extra cards back in hand. He's going to have to reinstall them or put more ice or cred up. I mean,
that is the plan. I was just planning to set up for the big run, which is this run right here.
And you nailed one agenda. And see, this is what I mean, though, is that this can happen where you only steal one, and that's what I'm
all
saying.
You need is one, though, because all of a sudden his plans to get things out are automatically removed. Like, it gets bounced back into his hands.
I guess my point is, though, is that like if you were running, say, twice a turn and milling twice a turn instead of milling 4, is that you could be randomly hitting agendas in R&D or HQ and just bouncing everything back so that he can't keep anything out. So he either has to install ice back out to hopefully res it someday, or just cred up, but then leaving his servers completely open. And the DLR is more just like a kind of a background constant nuisance that is slowly grinding them down. Because, the thing is, the only downside to relying on DLR as a win condition is that if the corp can manage to squeak out some econ, manage to squeak out some ice, and recover, is that especially with Museum of History, is that eventually if they can stabilize it all, and you don't really have a board state out, because look, all you have is DLR, Wireless Net, and Faust. So, I mean, if you can get rid of the DLR, it's like, you're going to have to build your board state back up.
He keeps completely disregarding the DLR. And
I mean,
I'm just trying to take advantage of those situations. Again, I need to keep my hands full just in case, because he did spend credits to trash that paparazzi, making me think that he has a kill strategy in hand, and he's been trying to search for that. So that's why I've been constantly trying to respect the fact that he could potentially run the kill.
It's entirely possible, although...
Because he did pay those credits to get rid of that, so...
Yeah, although we didn't see any kill when you ran archives.
No.
And I feel like there's a good chance if we did have any kill, you would have at least saw one out of all those cards. I mean, it is possible you could have missed it, but...
Yeah.
And it is... Maybe it might have been a bit of a misplay in his part, in the sense that he might have just been trashing it because... When you see paparazzi, you assume DLR, because why else ever play that?
Yeah.
And it could have been that he just...
Oh, hang on. We have an agenda here trying to be scored. It's Oaktown renovations.
Yeah. So now he's switching it up. He's trying to get some tempo back in his favor. Obviously, Oaktown being kind of the ultimate tempo agenda.
So, one of the best Wayland identities. And of course, there's another DDoS that is going to prevent him from rezzing that outside piece of ice.
You got Ash, I thought so. But that's not going to do him much when you have 16 credits.
And 16 credits, he has 0.
Yeah, this was definitely a ballsy play, especially considering not only did you already... did he already see DDoS before? But, you always have to respect Inside Job from Criminal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're actually playing it in here.
I chose not to beat the Trice because there was really no other tax for me anyway, so I decided to just let him fire the Trice, trash the Ash, make a second run, and then access and steal the Oaktown, and bounce the other agenda back into his hand.
Interesting. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same difference.
It works out to about the same difference.
Yeah. And now it's 5-0. So, or no, 5-0. Not looking so good for Chris. And this is the power of not even just DLR, but just criminal in general. Is if they can keep your credits low.
Yeah.
And especially with Leela being able to bounce all your stuff, like you just can't get your board state developed.
Exactly. If there's ever a second piece of ice in front of a server, that is the first target that's going to be bounced. So what are your thoughts on this new server that he made? You put a second piece of ice.
I just don't see he needs money. He has spent so much click installing ice.
Do you think it's an agenda, or do you feel like that is an asset?
It almost doesn't matter. You have one credit. What are you rezzing?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It pretty much doesn't matter. He does have Mumba Temple credits.
True. Yeah. I mean but all the same, you have Faust. So I mean, anything he's going to res is going to be pretty low strength. I imagine.
Yeah.
So it just
yeah.
Oh, say okay. So public support, the end of your turn, which normally public support's a great card. I love playing in Gagarin. It definitely it's good pressure if you can get multiple of them out, and it's a quick way to add extra agenda points. Obviously, it's a pain to trash. It's Archer food. It's been a great addition for.
That is the game right there.
And just like that.
Yeah. So public support or not.
Yeah, more mills, more money.
Elizabeth Mills.
Ain't nowhere to see. Wow. So that's how it goes. That was quick and dirty. Yeah, you just completely dominated that from the get-go. Right when you landed that siphon and stole that first agenda, it was all Leela all the time.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about DDoS is that it can come in unexpected, and the Corp usually doesn't expect or have an answer for that immediately.
Yeah, I think DDoS into siphon and just into early, especially with Leela, into early agenda plays, getting those agendas and being able to bounce the ice or whatever else it's been such a powerful addition.
Absolutely.
For her build.
Well, that's going to do it for Game 1 of the Stampede City Grid for the Winter Store Kit.
So we're going to have some more videos from this tournament coming up, so stay tuned. So signing off from Stampede City Grid, I'm Justin.
I'm Keith.
And always be running.